Y'all better pay attention. Now this is crazy. Check this out.
1,000 motherfuckers dead in 72 hours in France. Why they ain't talking about it? Let's just sit here and let's analyze this, right? Over 1,000 people dropped dead from the heat in France. And ain't nobody talking about it? You don't think that that's worth mentioning on news? Why would you want to keep that silent? I mean, let's just be pragmatic here. Let's ask ourselves. Something as devastating as 1,000 people in 72 hours drop dead, and you keep it quiet intentionally. You don't find that suspicious? You don't find that suspicious?
I said, where are you from? He said, I'm from your planet that your Bible calls the morning and the evening star. I said, Venus? He said, yes, the inside of Venus. I said, how did you get here? He said, I came in a saucer craft, which is called Victor 1. I said, what is your name? He said, Commander Valiant Thor. He said, you call me Val. I said, thank you. And how long have you been here? 3.5 years, this coming March 16th of 1960. And what have you been doing here? He said, I've been conversing with the President of the United States, Dwight D. Eisenhower, and Mr. Nixon, who I met personally some years afterward, and several members of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. He said, I brought a gift for them. And this gift was in my hands, and I looked into the eyes of Mr. Eisenhower. I said, this information will do away with sickness, disease, and even death in the United States, and then you can share it with other nations. Gave it to the President. President Eisenhower received this information. It took them over 1 year to get back to the commander. He was their guest for 3 years at the Pentagon. And 1 year later, the President came back, met with the commander again, with this information in his hands, shaking his head. He said, I'm sorry, we cannot accept this information because it will ruin the economy of the United States.
I finally found out how they make clouds. Here in Cumberland, Tennessee is where they make them. Just so you know, today's pretty cloudy.
How can a person control their mind?
Good. Glad you asked. Right? So the mind works like this. It repeats shit over and over. You can't control it. Sit around and wonder why thoughts keep popping up. The only way to control that, you gotta, what Jesus said, get your armor of the Lord. Right? I'm gonna tell you what he mean by that. You gotta sit falling in the house now. That's how you know I'm talking. But look, this is how you gotta do it. So you gotta have a plan. So you gotta tame your body and your mind first. So first thing you gotta do, you gotta wake up every day at the same time. You gotta try exercising your body. Tell your body, look, you work for me. So you exercise it. Make it move, even when I don't wanna move. And then you make your mind read for 10 to 15 minutes, even though it don't wanna read, it hate to read. And then you make it remember. And you close your eyes, you accept all the pain, and you cry. And then you tell it to blank out. And then you let it blank out. If you do that every day, the same problem from yesterday won't come back tomorrow. computer, we live in a simulation. So you know how the computer, you gotta delete everything and wipe all the files. If you don't, it'll start running slow. Your phone and shit start running slow with all the backed up files in it.
Yes.
That's how your mind is. It's the same way. So you got to clear it. You got to delete shit. You got to remove shit. Or you gonna start getting real old and slow. Like my iPhone 7.
Right.
But it's still good.
My favorite kind of person is somebody who is like hella light and love, and you see them and they just but then like don't fuck with them because the gangster come out. It get real fucking serious around these parts around them. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like I'm one of them people. It's like everybody be thinking, oh my God, he's so nice, he's so nice. But then and that darkness kick in, child, I be trying to tell them, don't fuck with a nigga, because I'm not the one. You always light and love because you've been through the most shit. That's when you got all that light and love in you, because you had to, years. For years I have waited for my trauma to be over, for my pain to go away. And when you've been through a lot, when you've seen a lot, you are a lot. And you have to connect with source and abundance and light and love and really work your way through it on some I say shit. On some yoga, some yogi, some of that little meditative woosah shit. Yeah, I do hot yoga about 3 times a day, because if I don't, you know, they're my favorite kind of people. And I love when people find out. They be like, oh God, I'm scared. Oh my God, yeah, you should be. Because I don't fuck around, you know?
Okay, I think it's time we realize that some people aren't actually rejecting you. They're rejecting the work that it would take to be in your energy. Okay, see, your energy asks for honesty. Your energy asks for presence. Your energy might also ask for accountability. And it exposes where people aren't willing to meet themselves. And that can feel uncomfortable for many people, for many types of people. And some people just aren't ready to do the work. So instead of leaning in and doing that work, they pull away. And what do they call it? Incompatibility. But it's not that you're too much. It's that your energy requires awareness. Not everyone's ready to face what that brings up in them. You just have to understand that you carry a frequency that can't be sustained by half-hearted effort or even surface-level connections. To be in your space means to be real. To be in your space means to be intentional. And that's work. That's work that not everyone is willing to do. So no. They didn't reject you. They rejected the version of themselves they'd have to become to stand next to you.
You become spiritual when you come to the understanding that everyone is God, just in a separate body. We're all experiencing God. We are God experiencing God. That's exactly what life is. And you come to this understanding that, damn, people who just treat other people like shit for no reason, like, damn, you really just must be psychologically fucked. And when you come to this understanding that we're all a soul inside of a vessel, we're all a small fragment of the totality of God experiencing itself. So you are treating yourself like shit when you treat other people like shit. And that tells you a lot about people like that. Because if they treating other people like shit, especially people who ain't did nothing to them, especially people who tried to treat them well, or who was just trying to be kind to them, and they treat them like shit, it tells you a lot about them. It tells you a whole lot about how they feel about this. It really shows you how truly disconnected they are to the true essence of who they are as a person. Like when you see homeless people, fast food workers, just anybody you run into, that's you, just in a different form. And then you see people who just treat people like shit, manipulate people and shit for no, but like people who do shit like this, it just really lets you understand who they really are deep down on the inside. That shit is crazy to me, man. Cause I've done some fucked up shit in the past, but I'm on like a path of redemption for some of the things that I've done and I'm not proud of. But it's some people who literally just go their whole life just treating other people like shit, just using and abusing other people. It's really people out here who just do that shit. Y'all really are asleep. Y'all are the most unconscious motherfuckers on the planet.
Alright, so I wanted to bring this to your attention, and you guys can let me know how y'all feel about it. But the powers that be, the people that control all these things, y'all have heard that God, creation energy, I said it, creation, it creates life. It created all of us. We have the essence of God within us. So it creates. You guys have heard growing up that the devil cannot create anything. And I'm not just talking about religion. Don't let that go over your head. The devil cannot create anything. What does he do? He mixes things up to confuse you. So he leads you astray. Not by creating things, by confusing you to thinking that things have more value than they have. What do I mean by that? When was the last time a celebrity, the government, hospitals, they tell you how to heal yourself, how to think for yourself, how to buy appreciating assets instead of depreciating assets? You know when that happened? Never. You know when it's gonna happen? Never. Because they want you tied to this realm. So they're gonna make you fall in love with materialistic things for you to identify with it, so you become more and more engulfed within this matrix. Make tricks. They're tricking you day in and day out, making you think that if you got the latest car, the latest shoes, the latest this, the latest that you're popping. Yeah, in the material world, you're going crazy. But you're as hollow as a motherfucker when it comes to you. Your inside, your mental is jacked up. You think that just because you got the latest car, the latest this, the latest that you're popping, this and that, but you're depressed. But you're sad. They're teaching you that by spilling your sacred oils with other people or on yourself, that you're popping, that you that man, that you that shawty. They're deceiving you. You see what I'm saying? The real people that have real esoteric wealth, they have no reason to be flashy for what? But they make us, you feel me? They make us, the lower class, think that, oh, I got this big ass chain. Oh, I got this watch. Oh, I got this ring. Oh, I got this that. But that does not mean shit. Because fun fact, when you pass away, they're not gonna bury you with your shoes, with your car, with your chains. You see what I'm saying? Like, it gets deep. They want to make you dependent on them, but they're providing the problem. So they're providing us the food that we eat, and then we get sick, so we go to their hospitals. And after we go to their hospitals, they're not in the business to get you to heal. They're in the business to get your ass from the hospital to the pharmacy. Because the big three when it comes to this shit is fast and healthy food, the hospital, and the pharmacy. You eat the shitty food, you feel shitty, you go to the hospital, you're sick, now you go to the pharmacy, they got a new client, and they're not gonna teach you how to heal yourself, because then they be losing money. You see what I'm saying? This shit get deep. Start to learn how to heal yourself holistically, because the Creator provided everything you need to get better. Stop identifying with materialistic things, because it does not matter. The new one will come out shortly, every single time. I got the 2026 Honda. And next year's gonna come out the 2027, so now you're behind. Oh, I got the iPhone 16. The iPhone 17 is coming out. Oh, I got this Rolly. Now you're gonna get the Polioli. You feel what I'm saying, bro? Like, it's right in our face. Remember, the devil cannot create, he could deceive you. So they're making you think that by doing all these unhealthy habits that you're popping and doing what you're supposed to do. No, that's what they want you, because now you're under their control. Learn to think for yourself. Learn to heal yourself. You see what I'm saying? Learn to help others, not just yourself. Start to create the life you want to create. Don't be famoosed. Don't be famoosed by what they basically put in our face, making it seem like it's normal, because it's not. A lot of the habits that we have are not normal. They're normal to us because we're used to it, but it's really not. Ashe, I love y'all. We are one.
You're probably a master alchemist and don't even know it. Alchemy is simply the act of being able to transmute energy that's being sent to you. So if you catch yourself around a person sending you negative energy and you create something positive out of that, then you're an alchemist. And you most likely have known about this ability but didn't know what to call it. Because you often catch yourself being able to see the positive in situations even when it can be viewed as negative. That is alchemy at its purest form right there. because it's that optimism that's needed in order to get out of tough situations. You have to be able to see the brighter side within the dark path that you're walking on. And the more you practice transmuting negative energy, the better you will be at defending yourself from spiritual attacks. For people target you because of the unique energy that you emanate from within your body. And they will come within your energy space and try to drain you from your energy. And it's alchemy that's going to allow you to be able to defend yourself in those situations at all times.
This is talking about something a lot of people are drawn to on a spiritual journey. The idea of transformation, not just changing your circumstances, but changing the way you respond to them. We're talking about energy alchemy, which is the idea that you can take energy that's sent your way, especially difficult or negative energy, and completely transform it into something that actually works in your favor. And honestly, I think this is one of the most powerful concepts in spirituality because if you really think about it, life is constantly giving us things to process, whether that be disappointments, betrayals, challenges. And the question becomes, what do we do with that energy once it reaches us? Do we allow it to consume us? Do we let someone else's anger become our anger? Do we let someone else's bitterness change the way that we see the world? Or do we learn how to take that experience and transform it into something that actually strengthens us? That's where the idea of alchemy comes in. Now, when people hear the word alchemy, they usually think about ancient practices of turning something ordinary into something valuable, like gold, i.e., example, turning lead into gold. But spiritually, many people see alchemy as something that happens internally. The ability to take pain and turn it into wisdom, take heartbreak and turn that into self love, even obstacles, and for sure, turn those into moments of growth. It's almost like saying, I may not have chosen this experience, but I do get to choose what I create from it. And I think that's a very powerful mindset because two people can go through the exact same situation and walk away completely different. And that's okay. That's okay. One person may be filled with anger and resentment, and another may use that same experience as a turning point of sorts. The difference isn't always what happened, sometimes it's what they decide to do with what happened. And also, I want to talk about optimism. And I want to be clear, optimism doesn't mean pretending that everything is perfect. It doesn't mean ignoring pain or acting like difficult things don't exist. That's not real healing. Real transformation means acknowledging what happened while still refusing to let that experience define you. It's being able to say, yes, this hurt me. It changed me as well. But this does not have the power to destroy me, period. That's where the power is. Because sometimes the very thing that tried to break you becomes the thing that wakes you up. Sometimes the season that felt like your lowest point, that actually becomes the season where you discover your strength. And from a spiritual perspective, this idea of energy transmutation, it's all about reclaiming your power. Instead of constantly reacting to everything outside of you, you become more intentional about what you allow inside of you. Someone can project anger onto you, but you don't have to carry it. Someone can misunderstand you. Some people be dedicated to misunderstanding you. But guess what? You don't have to lose your peace proving yourself. Somebody could send negativity your way, but you don't have to become a reflection of that negativity. That is real alchemy right there. That's real alchemy. Taking what was meant to lower your vibration and using it as fuel for your growth. Now, there was also a mention of spiritual protection and people trying to drain your energy. And I think this connects back to something that we talked about before. Your awareness matters. Please pay attention to how certain situations make you feel. Pay attention to what constantly leaves you exhausted, to where you're giving your energy to, because your energy is so valuable. Your peace is valuable, and being protective of those things isn't about living in fear, it's about being intentional. At the end of the day, I think energy alchemy is really about becoming the person who decides what happens next. Not because you can control everything that happens to you, no, but because you can choose your response. And that choice changes everything. The world will always have challenges. People will always have their opinions. They'll have their mind made up about things that you may not agree with, and that's okay. Life will always bring those unexpected moments, but when you learn how to transform what comes towards you, you stop being controlled by every outside force. You become the person who can find the lesson and turn even the darkest experiences into something that helps you evolve.
I want y'all to listen to these Egyptian proverbs not with your ears, but with your heart. And tell me how they make you feel as opposed to how you felt going to church. Kingdom of heaven is within you, and whosoever shall know himself shall find it. The first reminder that spiritual enlightenment begins within. Know the world in yourself. Never look for yourself in the world. This will be to project your illusion. This encourages self-reflection. Look at yourself first. Stop talking about everybody else. I all know this one. As above, so below. As within, so without. A lot of people say it, but probably don't know what it means. This is highlighting the interconnectedness of the universe as well as ourselves. World Wide Web has a deeper meaning. Her body is the temple of knowledge. Teaching that wisdom resides in the spiritual and physical harmony of the body. Remember that knowledge was forbidden in the Bible. They don't want us to know thyself. To speak divine truth, one must first walk it. Walk it like you talk it. This is saying live authentically before you start trying to preach to somebody. You not doing it, how you gonna tell somebody else to do it? Listen to your conviction, even if the whole world opposes it. This one is deep. You gotta trust that inner voice versus the external noises because it's a lot of those. You know how to listen to yourself? And know thyself, and you shall know the gods. That is so self-explanatory. Energy that flows through you. This God that everybody loves to speak of and give credit to is nothing more than an energy that flows through you. The mouth of a perfectly contented man is full of praise. This is talking about what happens when you live in a space of gratitude and joy. The cup will always be full, your spirit fulfilled. Silence is more profitable than an abundance of speech. Quiet contemplation over empty words. Stop talking so much. Stop telling everybody every move you gonna make. Sometimes our mouth get us in too much trouble. Do a good deed and throw it into the water. When it dries, you shall find it. This is talking about the ripple effect of kindness and goodness. Now let me know how those make you feel. We was taught this from the beginning. Imagine where we would be right now as a society. I keep telling y'all, knowledge is not power unless you apply it. Now that we know better, we can do better. Make sure y'all let me know your thoughts in the comments. Peace, love, and light, and gratitude for watching.
Sometimes the deepest wisdom isn't hidden somewhere far away. It's actually been pointing back to us the entire time. The main message running through these proverbs is know yourself or know thyself. And honestly, I think that's one of the hardest things for people to do because it's easy to study the world and search for answers outside of ourselves. But these teachings are saying something completely different. They're telling us that the journey starts within. One of the quotes that stood out to me was the idea that The kingdom of heaven is within you. And this is such a powerful concept because it completely shifts the way that we think about spirituality. Instead of constantly searching outside of ourselves for connection, validation, and wisdom, it asks us to look inward. What patterns am I carrying? What beliefs are shaping my reality? What parts of myself have I ignored? Because sometimes the answers we're looking for aren't missing, they're buried underneath everything we've been taught to be. And I think that's why knowing thyself has appeared in so many spiritual traditions throughout history, because understanding yourself is the foundation of understanding anything else. How can you truly understand the world if you don't even understand the person that's experiencing it? How can you recognize truth outside of you if you don't know how your own fears, desires, and beliefs affect the way you see? That is what makes self awareness so powerful. And then there's the phrase, know the world and yourself, never look for yourself in the world. And this one really made me think because so many people spend their entire lives searching for themselves through external things, through relationships, through status, other people's approval. And there's nothing wrong with enjoying those things. But when we make the outside world responsible for creating our identity, we give away a lot of our power. Yes, we do. Because everything outside of us is constantly changing. People change, circumstances change, opinions change. That's the only one thing that we have that is guaranteed in this life is change. But your connection with yourself is something that you carry everywhere. Another phrase is as above, so below, as within, so without. This is one of those phrases that's been studied and interpreted in different traditions for forever, for centuries. The idea is that there is a connection between the inner world and the outer world, that what happens with us can influence how we experience what is around us. And honestly, we see examples of this all the time. Someone who carries peace tends to experience situations differently than someone constantly living in fear. A person who believes that they're worthy, they're going to move differently than someone who believes they aren't enough. Our internal state affects our external experience. And then that brings us to the body being the temple of knowledge. And I think this is something a lot of traditions emphasize. The body isn't just something that we move in, it's the vessel through which we experience this life. Our emotions, our awareness, our senses, the body communicates with us constantly, but how often do we actually listen? We are so connected to outside information that sometimes we forget to just check in with ourselves. And that brings me to another quote. To speak divine truth, one must first walk it. That one is important. It's pretty important because knowledge without application is just information, right? Anybody can repeat spiritual concepts. Anybody can talk about awakening. Anybody can talk about love, healing, and consciousness, but how do we actually live it? How do we treat people when we're frustrated? How do we show up when nobody's watching? That's where the real transformation happens. Then there's the reminder to listen to your conviction, even when the world disagrees. And I think this is where intuition comes into play because there will always be outside voices telling you what you should do, who you should be, what path makes more sense. But there is something powerful about learning to trust that inner knowing, not from a place of ego, but from a place of deep self awareness. The more you understand yourself, the easier it becomes to recognize what aligns with you and what does not. I also love the message about silence being more valuable than excessive speech because we live in a world where everyone is constantly trying to be heard. Everyone wants to have an opinion. They want to respond immediately, but sometimes the deepest wisdom comes in stillness, in those quiet moments, and just simply being present. And maybe that's why silence can feel uncomfortable for so many people. Because when everything is quiet, you finally have to meet yourself. And that can be where the real work begins. At the end of the day, the message I am getting from this is return to yourself, or should I say, return to thyself. Know thyself, honor thyself, because the more connected you become with your own spirit, the more clearly you can begin to understand your place in the world. Maybe enlightenment isn't about finding something outside of you. Maybe it's about remembering what was already there. In closing, when I think about the two clips that we just spoke about, I feel like they actually connect in a really beautiful way. One clip talks about energy alchemy, the ability to transform what comes towards you into something that actually helps you grow. And the other talks about knowing yourself, understanding that the answers you're searching for may not always be outside of you. And when you put these two ideas together, it creates a really powerful message. Your power comes from within. I think a lot of us spend so much time trying to change what's happening around us. We want different people, different circumstances, different outcomes. And sometimes we forget to ask the deeper question: what is happening within me? Because the way we experience life isn't just based on what happens, it's also based on the energy, the beliefs, the awareness that we bring into those experiences. Two people can go through the same challenge and walk away completely different. One person may see it as proof that life is against them. Another person may see it as the moment they were pushed into being something stronger. The situation was the same, but the relationship they had with that situation was different. And that's where energy alchemy comes in. It's not about pretending everything is positive all of the time. It's not about ignoring pain or acting like difficult things don't affect us. No, that is not real transformation, my love. Real transformation is being able to look at something painful and say, how can I grow from this? What is this showing me? What part of myself is being called forward? Because sometimes the experiences that shake us the most, those are the ones that wake us up. Sometimes the things we thought was breaking us, it was actually breaking us out of an old version of ourselves. Message. And I think that's what the ancient wisdom in the second clip is pointing towards. Know yourself. Because when you know yourself, you become harder to control. Yes. You become less dependent on outside validation. You become more aware of your own patterns, your own thoughts, energy. And guess what? That's a powerful place to be, because the world we live in will always have noise. There will always be opinions. There's always going to be people telling you what you should believe, who you should be, and how you should live, and what you should be doing. But the deeper you connect with yourself, the easier it becomes to recognize what feels aligned and what doesn't for you. And I think that's why so many spiritual teachings focus on going within, not because the outside world doesn't matter, but because your inner world influences how you move through the outside world. Your thoughts influence your actions, your beliefs influence your choices. Your emotional state influences the energy that you bring into every room before you even enter. That's why protecting your energy is so important. Not from a place of fear, but from a place of awareness. Because your energy is the foundation of how you experience life. Think about it. When you are connected to yourself, when you feel grounded, when you trust your intuition, things feel different. You handle challenges differently. You respond differently. You see opportunities you may have not noticed before. But when you're disconnected from yourself, everything outside of you starts feeling like it has power over you. A person's opinion can ruin your entire day. A difficult moment can make you forget who you are. And I think that's the reminder that we're getting from this is to come back to yourself. Remember who you are. Remember that every experience is an opportunity to learn something about yourself. The people who challenge you, the situations that test you, they can all become teachers, not because everything happens to us is meant to happen exactly the way it does, but because we have the ability to decide what we create from those experiences. That is where our power is. And I think that's the beautiful thing about spiritual growth. It isn't about becoming someone completely different, it's about uncovering the parts of yourself that were always there. The wisdom, the intuition, the strength, the awareness. Sometimes we aren't searching for something new. Sometimes we're remembering something we already knew deep down. So, with that being said, I want to know your thoughts. Have you ever experienced a moment where something difficult ended up being a turning point for you? Let me know down in the comments. Have you ever looked back and realized that a painful experience actually helped you grow into a much, much stronger version of yourself? Let me know down in the comments because I think everyone's journey teaches us something different. And sometimes sharing those experiences helps someone else see their own situation from a new perspective. With that being said, until next time, and remember how much I love you, love you, love you. And I will see you on the very next video.